from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster. You know, like I guess I probably wouldn't want to, I'd like to soar on thermals. I would, but for the time being, I'll just enjoy the birds that do, and try to think of something else to fill in, something silly that also expresses that I'm here to take your mind off stuff and keep you company, because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. All right, everybody, it's Scoots here. I'm trying to get these patron messages as quick as I can. But if you use it on a regular basis, if you listen to a lot of episodes of Sleep With Me, especially compared to other stuff you pay for as a subscription, if you count on Sleep With Me and you're in a position to do so, only if you're in a financial position to do so, maybe you cut back on a streaming service, or maybe say, you know what, Scoots is worth eating out one less lunch a month or two less lunches a month. I want to support Sleep With Me at $10 or $20 a month. That would be huge. It also feels good. I mean, that's just something patrons regularly tell me, how good it feels to be a rebel with a cause. And you could sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. I also want to talk about some of the stuff from the last few months that the patrons gave me feedback about, is having something to listen to 5 nights a week. Every school night, every work night. Sunday night, brand new episode. Monday night, story only episode. So no music. And Tuesday night, another story only episode. People love those. Wednesday night, another brand new episode. And then on Thursdays, $10 and $20 patrons get another episode. Usually it's either an exclusive bonus show or an all intro show or a 4, 6, 8 hour compilation show. So think about it. Think about how much you get out of Sleep With Me. Maybe some of those patron bonuses appeal to you too, because I know the patrons, they tell me how much they love it. Story only episodes and night after night after night of content ready to go. You could sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Be a rebel with a cause. Pay for a free podcast because it feels good. You get something back. And if you're not in a position to do so, or you don't want to, that's totally okay too. I totally understand. And either way, whether you support the show or not, it'll be here for you, because I've been there in the deep dip. Last night, oh boy, I'll save it for an intro. But so sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast where I pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. I'm trying to make these as fast as possible because they work. If you look in the podcast feed now, we got over 300 episodes, and that's because of the listeners who supported the sponsors. There's going to be more added in and more to come. The more you support the sponsors, the more I can do. And I want to thank Michelle, who supported Helix, got herself a Helix mattress, loves it, also got some Sleep With Me sleep phones. So really enjoying the comfort at Helix. Thank you, Michelle, for purchasing a Helix, supporting a sponsor, using our code, and letting them know about it. That's how you can get on Sleepy Supporter Zone, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. Thank you, Michelle. If you're in extra need of support right now, write in our show notes or organizations you can connect with. You're important. Take that extra step. And our community is important. Being a part of positive change, taking action that says Black Lives Matter, that says stop AAPI hate, that says let's change for the better. There's links to organizations you can connect with to start that process, to get started right now. And one of those organizations I support is 1,000 Women Strong, 1K Women Strong. Last time I loaded up their Twitter. Now I'm going to load up, or their Instagram. Now I'm going to load up their Twitter right now. On social media, it's 1K Women Strong. And 1,000 Women Strong is a national constituency platform centered around the civic and communal progression and advancement of Black women. And right now, you could take action right now by going to their website, going to social media, using the link tree in our show notes, and taking action to support their work on canceling student debt. That's 1K Women Strong. Check it out. Mr. Bart, a lot of people help out in the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through. When the listeners form their own support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. And I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, things on your mind about the past, the present, the future, or that are just, thoughts that are coming. For me, it's like all these thoughts that come up on their, or that seemingly they do come up on their own, and they want to tell me a bunch of stuff about me, or the past, or the present, or the future. It could be thoughts, it could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts, or that's just there. It could be physical sensations. It could be changes in time or temperature or routine. It could be something situational, or something coming up, or something that just happened, or maybe it's something else. And if it is, if I don't know what it is, you could let me know. You could just share with me. A lot of listeners, they just share their story a little bit with me. And they say, thanks, sir. This is how I heard about the show, or whatever. But whatever it is that's keeping you awake, I'm going to try to help in my own way. This show is very different than other shows. It kind of was one of the first sleep podcasts, I think, but it's still a little bit different than most other stuff out there because I do it a little bit differently. So what I propose to do, the main thing is I'm trying to create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. Also, I repeat myself a lot, so I already did. But what I'll do is I'll send my voice across the deep, dark night. That's the first step of this safe place. I'll use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. That means I'm going to go off topic. I'm going to get mixed up. I'm going to use kind of this unique voice that I have to keep you company while you fall asleep. And so what that means is that, so my voice is a little bit different. I get mixed up. I get distracted. I even got distracted while I was talking to you. I apologize, but I kind of do it for your benefit. So it's something you don't need to listen to. And you could fall asleep whenever I'm talking, but I'll give you some more info. The most important piece of information I can give you is that you deserve a good night's sleep. Like, that's kind of the most important thing I can say. And I know it can be exhausting, and it can feel like, I know how it feels. I guess those are the two things. I know how it feels. I've been there, tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, tossing, turning. I've been through all that. And I've also, I don't know, I just really want you, whether this podcast works for you, it doesn't, you could go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. I hope you find something or I hope you just understand and believe me, because other people don't seem to believe it sometimes. It gets frustrating. I guess I'm kind of getting caught up that you deserve a good night's sleep, and that for some of us, or a lot of us, those of you that are listening right now, it's not easy. And people say, oh, just try. Why don't you do it? You're doing it wrong. I don't believe that. One, I believe it's not easy. But two, more importantly, you do deserve a place you could fall asleep and something that works for you. And maybe it's not this podcast. Maybe it's something else. But I hope it can be. Because, I don't know, it's really important for me that you know and understand that you deserve that, and that it would be really nice, right, if you could get the rest you need, and that you don't have to dread bedtime. That's what this show's about, is being a kind of goofy end of the day thing. Maybe it puts you to sleep, maybe it keeps you company, but it's something maybe you don't look forward to, like a new season of the show you like. Oh, Ted Lasso, so you say, I can't wait to watch Ted Lasso. Or like, this podcast is not Ted Lasso. It's more like just the so. You see, so you take out the Ted, you take out the last, not all the last, so just the first loss. And then, so this podcast is more like so. And you say, well, that's not bad compared to normal bedtime for me, is more of a rigmarole. So just having a so, not bad at all. I'll take that. You say, so at least I could listen to Scoots. He'll keep me company. So that's the first thing. You deserve a good night's sleep. I believe if you get that rest and you know, you have a place of respite, our world will be a better place. So that's that. The second thing that throws people off is this is a podcast you don't really listen to. So it's a podcast you kind of barely pay attention to. It keeps you company while you fall asleep, but you don't really listen to me. Kind of like that. So you say, like, you really can't do this. There are people that say so like that way, but this is like, so Scoots, like you could just listen to me. Yeah, let's take the Ted. Unfortunately for this podcast, yeah, I have to take the Ted and the loss out of, because I mean, this isn't Ted, this is, you're no Ted Lasso. I've imagined a Ted, I've seen in Ted Lasso, Scoots, and you're no Ted. I say, you're right. I'm not, I don't have that personality. I'm more glasses. And I don't even say the glass is half empty. I say the glass is almost dropped and broken. So you better be careful. In my mind, it says it to me. And they say, oh boy. So, I never thought about it that way. And that's the binary. They say, well, you're either half empty or half full. I say, no. I'm like pretty much almost broken, or sooner or later, oh, don't make that your favorite. Don't count on that glass. That's your favorite glass? That's a mistake. That's the Nana that lives in my mind. That's what enables me to make this podcast. You say, oh, did you just say you love that glass? Let me distract you. And it's one of those how come they don't call them self-propelled, what do they call them? Self-training thinking or self-created futures? I don't know. The person I work with, they have a word for it that's actually correct. Self-something beliefs, not self-limiting, but they say, where you make it come true. And mine is more of a self-propelling. My Nana will say, we're discovering, I'm not kidding or being facetious. Sometimes people think I'm joking. This is really the first time I've ever thought about it this way. Both, I say, I don't see the glass as half empty. I see it soon to be broken at the worst possible time. And they say, Scoots, that's a cup. It's made by, that was a company, it was once Defense Dynamics. Now they make insulated, double steel-walled mugs. And I said, it doesn't matter. I love this mug. And then Nana, she self-propels it. Because that is the thing I've learned through mindfulness, is to say, okay, if I could be mindful that I'm supposed to be doing a sleep podcast intro and then I'm going off topic, but then the glass propels itself against, and I'd say, wow, indestructible double steel thing, huh? Nana, well, we showed them. So anyway, so if you're here, oh, it's a podcast you don't really listen to. That's what I was saying. So you could just say, Scoots, so really? Really, so, Oh, is that so? I guess you could do it that way. Is that so? Now, someone sharing your space might say, what was that? What kind of were you making? No, this is just a so, like a so, no, more like, Scoots, so, so, yeah. No, not that kind of, so. No, more like so, so, yeah, no, yeah, kind of like without the Ted, without the lot, like, yeah. And they say, I'm sorry, I don't know. Oh, it's a podcast you fall asleep to. So it's a podcast you don't really listen to. Also does not put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company with my humor-like banter, which grates on some people. It's not for everybody. Because it's not really, but I don't know if it's for anybody. Because some people think this is actually supposed to be very funny or entertaining. And I say, no. I mean, it's like, it's mildly, barely something. So, so whatever. I'm here to keep you company, not really to put you to sleep. Because I don't know about you, but when when the Nana in my brain gets started, or somebody, let's say to somebody who I couldn't sleep last night, and they say, well, tell me about what you did. And they said, well, there's your problem right there. And I said, which one? Well, you're doing it wrong. You can't use the pillows like that. And I said, what do you mean? You can't grip a pillow like you're, like tightly in the crook of your arm, like it's your arch enemy and not fall asleep? And they say, yep, that's your problem right there. Your pillow doesn't belong in the crook of your arm. It belongs underneath your head. You say, wait a second, my pillow doesn't belong pressed up against, over my head? No, that's not how you do it. You're doing it. Oh. So when that happens for me, sometimes I feel a little deflated. I don't know what once again, that was a pointless meander because I thought I was making a point. Oh, I'm here to keep you company, just in case, if you can't fall asleep or if you feel like that. I say, I'm here to take your mind off stuff, keep you company, maybe normalize some of this, because never before, other than my dad later in life telling me about his voice, like how remnants of other people's voices in his head. And when I told him about my internal Nana, I said, I never had a Nana, but I have one fully ingrained in my belief system. How's that possible? Some would call it a miracle, but those would be the people living in the interior regions of the earth, like whatever they call a miracle. They'd say, that's our handiwork, Scoots, the old internal Nana. It's a stealth agent of ours. So anyway, some people are actually here for a sleep podcast. Podcasts you don't really listen to, podcasts that put you to sleep. The structure of the show is also something that's a little bit different. So let me go over that really quick for you. So the structure of the show starts off with a greeting. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends beyond the binary. Hopefully that makes you feel seen and understood and welcomed in. Then there's support for listeners and then support for the shows, because the goal of the show, or the current goal of the show, when I'm recording this, is to come out twice a week for free. And a lot of work goes in the show and all that stuff. But the sponsors and the people that support the show, pay for the show on Patreon, that's what enables that, makes it possible. Then after that is the intro, which really can throw new people off or people that are probably, maybe the show, it just takes some getting used to, because an intro goes from like minute 6 to minute 20 or so, where I just ramble on and try to introduce the podcast. And people don't believe me that it gets people really, really, they have really strong feelings about it. I mean, I totally understand it, because people maybe are expecting someone more calm, maybe more mellow, or the show to start. But this podcast, always going neverwhere. That's whatever I misspoke there is probably the most accurate. Always going neverwhere. Sleep With Me podcast. Can someone remind me to put that on a shirt or something? Always going neverwhere. Never going allwheres. Or something else. Put it on a pillow. Wouldn't fit. Sleep With Me podcast. So, so that's the intro. But the intro serves a purpose to be a part of a lot of listeners' wind down routine, to ease you into bedtime, to take your mind off of stuff, but not to put you to sleep right away. I don't know. Now, for some listeners, a small percentage of listeners, they're falling asleep. Look at how good they look sleeping there. And I say, great job. And then other listeners, about the same percentage, skip the intro or listen to story-only episodes on Patreon. But for a lot of us, it just takes some easing into bedtime, some time of disengagement, putting it in neutral, and listening to Scoots and say, wow, I thought at least I don't have I have something similar than Nana, but it doesn't sound like, who would have thought pessimists? You say, you know what you need? You're the number one pessimist I know. Listen to Sleep With Me podcast. You want to feel optimistic? You see, I'm taking pessimists and I'm putting them and making them optimistic. You say, well, I'm not quite an optimist, but at least I'm not Scoots. But I know there's other people like me. That's why I'm laughing. I say, wow, I hope I'm normalizing that for you. You say, hey, I've never thought about it that way, but I am a glass almost broken person. And it is freeing because it's acceptance. And you say, okay, well, now I know how to better care for you. Because I always said, yeah, that metaphor doesn't really do it for me. And if you may be listening to the show saying that. So that's the intro. It just goes on and on and on to give you a chance to wind down, get some distance from the day. Then there's some sponsors and stuff that's just like where one of the places sponsors like to be at the tail end of the opening of the show. And then there'll be a bedtime story. Tonight will be Tales of Lady Witchbeard, our ongoing episodically modular series about Lady Witchbeard, a witch and a pirate and a heroine, or like an awesome witch pirate. And you can listen to those in any order. So that's the bedtime story part. And then there's some thank yous at the end of the show. So I think that's everything. I hope if you're new, you give the show a few tries. That's what most listeners say. And that happens more and more. Just even in the last couple days, someone said, you know what, I really strongly disliked that podcast when I first listened to it. Now I listen every night. So that's not to say that that's you. But give it a few tries, because the podcast doesn't cost anything, because it's already supported by the people that have been listening for a long time, and see how it goes. And then if it doesn't work, say, check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. There's sleep podcasts on there. There's other stuff on there. But in the end, I hope what I said towards the beginning, after the first time I went off topic, before I went really off topic, you do deserve a good night's sleep. And I know that's not easy. And I know that some people can make that feel like diminish it. And then maybe they don't understand. But there is a community, not just around this podcast, but around the other sleep podcasts and out there that does understand that that's not easy. And at the same time, you probably want it and deserve it. And that's a really kind of one of the fundamental things about this podcast is that I'm here. Whether you're awake or asleep, I'm here to keep you company, because at least I can do that. I might not be able to put you to sleep, even if you like this podcast. But I can tell you, this is how I can help. And, yeah, it's not going to help everybody. But maybe thinking about that Nana stuff or, that other stuff, you say, hey, I know how that feels too, Scoots. And sometimes that's all we need, or that's all I need to say. You know what? I feel that way too. And you say, wow, I'm not alone. You're not alone. And this is a weird digital version of that. But if that emotional note resonates with you, that's important to say, oh, yeah, I'm the old indestructible glass half broken person too. And you could laugh with me, okay? Or barely laugh. So that's it. I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad I've reached this new realization. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because I'm sitting here recording in a car in the rain has just ended. So I don't know. I really am glad you're here. I work really hard on this show, and I really enjoy the hard work on this show. So I'm glad you're here. I appreciate your time, and I really hope this podcast can keep you company or help you fall asleep. So thanks again. And here's the ways I'm able to do this for you for free twice a week. Thanks. Hey, everybody, Scoots. Before we move on here, I just want to let you know about sleep phones. I don't know if you've ever checked out our sleep phone store lately, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. We've got custom sleep phones. We've got a bunch of new bands you could check out. It's the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me. Soft headphones in a headband, perfect for bedtime. They have 3 different models, a corded one, a wireless one, and then one with wireless charging. Listeners love them. I love them. I run in sleep phones. I use sleep phones when I sleep on the road. I keep a pair in my suitcase all the time. And you could get yours, the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me, at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. And be sure to use the promo code Sleep With Me. It'll save you a little bit of money on your order. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones, and use Sleep With Me at checkout. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for another of our episodically modular episode of our series Tales of Lady Witchbeard. And here's the part where I fill you in on everything, because you say, well, but this is episode 7 or 8, Scoots. I think it's episode 8. I don't know, though. And that's, I make the show, so that's how really you can listen to them in any order. So many producers of content over the last 8 billion years or whatever have normalized this. You say, well, it's out of order. That makes it more, so you could listen to these in any order. You don't have to listen. You could. I know there's completists. There's nothing wrong with being a completist. I just want to soothe that completist part of you right now that might say, no, don't worry about it. You already hit play. I'm going to fill you in on everything you need to know, really, so that you can drift off and fall asleep. So what do you need to know? Tales of Lady Witchbeard. It's tales. Part of it, there is an overarching story. Lady Witchbeard, she's a witch. She's a pirate. She's a heroine or a hero or pretty awesome. She's extremely qualified to be both a witch and a pirate and a leader, mostly, or a command. She's in charge. I don't even think she needs to use the word boss. Like she says, I don't. She doesn't have to say she's a boss or whatever, because you know it. Like even subconsciously say, yes, Lady Witchbeard. See how easily that came out of my mouth. So. You might say, so she's a witch and a pirate? And I say, yeah, she lives in a witch world, was raised as a witch in a witch. Oh, no, she's in a pirate world. She was raised in a witch world as a witch in a, larger, bigger witch, you say, like not a witch in our world or a witch, witch out of, she had her place in a witch world where all witches had, were living the witch life. Which to them was just life, because I'm an outside observer, I keep adding this witch stuff, but they say, this is just our world. Why do you have to say, and I say, well, just because I come from another world, and they'd say, oh, the dull world, or I say, compared to this world, actually, yes, it is, so I'd be fine with you saying that. Because they say magic's unfortunately more metaphorical in my world, or elusive. So, but she decides as she's growing up, she says, I don't know if being a witch is it for me. I'd like to see some other horizons. And somehow she finds herself in a sea-based world, the world of the 13 seas, a piratey realm. She becomes a pirate. She becomes a great pirate. Somewhere along the line, she crosses paths with me. If things go awry, we go on an adventure. She needs some time to recover from rescuing me, stuff like that. Then, more recently, within the last 8 episodes, I get her back. I say, Lady Witchbeard, I got this mission about Brandy. She was in love with a man who loved the sea. Kind of. This isn't exactly how it happened. I said, okay, let's see if we can figure that out, because I heard a legend like that once in the pirate realm. Also, she had not kind of reestablished her credentials or her, the thing I always forget what it's called, in her pirate realm. So she was supposed to become an apprentice pirate again with another fairly qualified pirate. A journey or whatever, a pirate expert or whatever, Don Dankle. And then we kind of all met up. Some other stuff happened, may or may not have been my fault. We turned into birds. We've turned into toads or newts. But something is going on in the world of the 13 seas. People are collecting roots and binding agents, and we don't know why. And you say, okay, where's the action? I'd say, well, this is a sleep podcast. That is the most action-packed part. We went to Library Island, and I did not sing the song, Oh, to Live on Library Island, where the bookmarks and the books are aplenty. You could read a lot on Library Island, but the thing is, the books always feel so cold. Sorry, I don't normally sing on there. That was more of a sing-song. But just happened. So, where were we? Oh, so Don Dankle, Lady Witchbeard, and I, or Daw in the story as I'm known, we were looking around saying, what's up with this route? We can't get a hold of the Pirates Guild. All the offices are closed. And all we knew is they were looking for this Sava root or its equivalents, and they're gathering that in mass. And then some sort of small amounts of something else in the mud, and then also nudie poo of a certain type of newts. So newt excrement, you could say. If you don't want to giggle, you could just say, "You're talking about newt excrement?" And I'd say, "I guess we are now, but I don't know what else to say other than nudie poo." It's much more giggle-icious. So then, after we tried to prevent them, we tried to work with the newts to flush all the poo out to sea. Because here's something I didn't know. Only not in our world, because this isn't our world. So scientists or biologists hold your letters, and they say, well, it's not. It's very improbable in fictional accounting, too, Scoots. These newts on this island, they have communal bathroom areas. And so, but that made it easier for them to harvest the newt poo. But while they started harvesting it, we found out, I'm pretty sure Brandy was meeting with a witch of legend. So this was pretty mind-blowing because Lady Witchbeard, I think, was so stunned. My memory's not totally fresh, never was. But that this is like a witch, a myth, like a witch, like just be like, say, you came across Zeus or Anansi or Loki, I guess would be different. Well, that you could see at a theme park. This is more, you'd say you're going to collect newt poo, and then you saw Athena, and you'd say, I'm pretty sure that person's dressed like Athena. And you say, well, is that Wonder Woman? And I'd say, I don't know. She wasn't Athena. She was some other goddess. And they say, well, I could go to a store named after Hermes. I'd say that spelling may be different. I could, there's a lot of different. Okay, anyway. So I think that's it. We saw this witch and we're trying to come up with a plan. I think we pretty much got to get into that. The witches, when you're in the witch-based realm, you travel through cauldrons. So just so you know, real cauldrons, though, not the Halloween ones you put outside. So that's interesting. I never knew that. I mean, I did because from Lady Witchbeard's other stories, but kind of like portal cauldrons or cauldrons you cast a portal spell over. So right now we're looking into this portal. I guess we're trying to collect some basic information. One is, who's this witch? What does Brandy have to do with this? And I guess I'd ask Lady Witchbeard, why is any of this really important? But yeah, why are they collecting all these raw materials? Because they're like, I guess for a sleep podcast, this is great. You say, okay, so you're collecting a massive amount of ground roots of certain particular plants. And then I'm trying to think of a way to say it that's not somewhat amusing to me. Newt stuff, newt droppings. They don't drop them, though. That's the thing. We had a laugh, not on mic, when I was talking to the newt, because I said, could I call it newt droppings? And the newt gave, we just found it funny, because it said, does it ever look like I'm dropping? And I said, I guess it's more of I don't think it's a colloquialism. But I said, I'm pretty sure a couple people in my neighborhood, when they walk their dogs, say, there's dog droppings. Because they just say, how'd they get there on the sidewalk? Other than a sign if you say, okay, wrap it up. I better get my way to a witch-based realm or a pirate-based realm. So anyway, without further ado, caught you up is our Hollywood announcer coming all the way from Los Angeles to where I am right now. Quiet as if you dropped a cloud from heaven onto my ears. I could still probably hear it if it was Antonio Banderas, but it would make me feel warm. Mr. Antonio Banderas. Thank you, Scooter. Friends beyond the binary. The ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls, it's time to take a splish and a splash to clean our hands of the nudie pool. It's time for another tale of Lady Witchbeard. Splash, splash, yeah. Thanks, Antonio. How you doing? You look like I'm good. It's good, Scooter. That was a long one. So that was Antonio Banderas, and this is Tales of Lady Witchbeard. Thanks, everybody, and good night. Okay. Hey, Lady Witchbeard. Hey, Don Danko. It's me. I'm back. So I guess it probably already answers the first thing. I made it back. So, Lady Witchbeard, you were right. There was so curious is, I think, the first thing. Oh, sorry, you're both looking at me. So do I have everything? Because am I still an intact, fully daw? I'm trying to get better at creating this, whatever, communicating clearly. Right, I can tell by the look. That's what was so communicating clearly with the two of you. I've returned from the mission you gave me, which was part of our mission, or part of our ongoing attempt, or whatever, our goal of trying to get into the cauldron, this portal cauldron, and see where it leads, where this super-powered, conquering witch from another realm, but from your realm, try to see where this portal leads. But you said, well, the witch probably has it, it has some fail-safes, so that, and you, Lady Witch, you said they would probably be for the curious. So there was guards that we snuck by and distracted. Well, you said there'll be curious, the not so smart, which you kind of both looked at me with both of those, and then brave, or in any of those orders, if you were making your own. So you were right about the curious one, because, first I dropped the rock in, and it came back with a note that said, no rocks next time, I mean it. And then, then, like I said, like you said, don't put my real hand in, put a stick in. And then I got in there with the rope. I mean, you were both watching me, right? But it was more of like, because you did say, well, it can't be something, it's got to be a deterrent, because they, Brandy or the witch have to kind of go through this thing. So then what happened was, not that far into the cauldron, it was interesting. I mean, the cauldron's like a TARDIS, I guess, or whatever. Oh, you don't know what anyway, so the cauldron was bigger on the inside, or a portal to another realm, but not that far down. Like, I was picturing, like, in the mist, well, anyway, so I went down some stairs, and then not that far down was, like, about, like, a level, and then there was a mirror there. And like you prepared me, said, remember, this may be trickery, daw. And there was a mirror, and the mirror made you look like you were turning into a prune. Like, when you take a bath for too long, or swim for too long. Yeah, so it kind of looked like that, like I was turning into a prune, but worse and worse. And that's what the sign said, it'll only get worse if you keep going. But then I figured, because that was like where there was a door, and then I said, I better not stay here. And then I looked behind the mirror, and of course there was a door hidden behind the mirror. So I think that was just to get the curious people out of there. Then in the next room, I'm guessing this was for even more curious people. There was like a box of magical toys, and it said, please take one, but I did not take one. I did poke some of them with a stick, and something happened to the stick. So, I'm sure that could have been time-consuming that part. So I said, is that for the curious or the not so smart, the box of toys? So that would be like, then I just walked by the toys, and then there was another set of stairs. But I'll be honest that I don't think there's like, I'm not the most brave person, right? So I'm thinking that I'm probably not the right person for this brave part. I think Don Danko, maybe you, I don't know, I was thinking you could go, but then I said, if we had a walkie-talkie to communicate, that would be cool. But I think it was good that you asked me all those questions about how would I go about getting in the cauldron, because you said probably I wouldn't have got much further. I think it would have been fun, though, if you held me by my ankles. But anyway, so I was thinking if we get a tin can phone, you know what that is? You do know what that is. So then I can talk to the two of you while going on this next level, because it kind of seemed a little, I wasn't feeling, I don't know, there was some sounds and some things that, and like, I don't know, I just had this feeling of, F to the E to the A to the R. And, you know, being curious or not always making the best choices, those come easy to me. But getting past, if someone was super brave, I think of Don Dankel after I think of Lady Witchbeard. So, there was another test, so that I skipped again. Because they said, what will, like, it was a video game, but then I saw that was in, like, it reminded me of the end of A Good Place. So I said, well, I just go around the back and unplug it. So I didn't play the game. I mean, I did play around with it after I unplugged it, because then I said it would be safe, and I said, I pretended I was playing the game. But I assume if you unplug it, like it was plugged into some sort of magical plug. How many prongs do you think a magical plug has? How many prongs in a prong? Would a magical prong? That's not, okay. So thanks for working on that while I was telling you. So we do have the tin can phone. So, like, I guess okay, so I have it with me. Like, so I'm going to get back in the, so I'm getting back in the cauldron. We got to pull it tight, though. Don't forget to pull it tight. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm sure you both can hear me. Don Danko, I can kind of hear you. Isn't that cool that we can hear each other even though we're holding it by, you could still hear me? Oh, because I guess the cauldron lets noise out, but doesn't let noise in. Also, when you two come in, make sure to double check. I'm glad you both trust me to make my way here. So, okay, so it looks like, oh no, this is another test. So I'm going in another room. There's a hallway ahead. And then, okay, so I'm going down this first hall. This is where I heard the noises. They're still in the distance now, though. So it says that I get to choose your next door based on your, so it says, those the highest intelligence use this door. And those like, there's just one just average. And then there's one, the highest wit. So this one seems easy. It's like, I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of, obvious I should go through I always thought they should have this with parking lines. If you're a great parker, have people go through that line. I would not go through that line because I think a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'm the best. So this one seems like I should just go through just like the bed in that story, just right. Just average is just right to me. Okay, and yeah, so now it's a little bit darker in this hall. And so Don Danko and Lady Witchbeard, if you were more courageous, though I guess this would be, I should probably ask what you would do and then do the opposite. So what would you do? Walk down the hall cautiously? Okay. So what would the opposite of that be? Someone that was even more confident would walk down blissfully unaware. Guess I'll crawl down this hallway. Because I was looking at it like I should be brave, but maybe I shouldn't, because if this hallway is to deter... Oh, so there's endless amount of doors, with things, but I guess because I'm crawling, I'm noticing, that, I'm trying to feel, I think there's a broom closet up here, but I feel air coming through it only because I'm on the floor. All the other doors, the air kind of feels stagnant. So, oh, yeah, I opened the broom closet door, and it looks like these tests are not as hard as, I mean, I guess this sooner or later. So you better come in, because now I'm seeing something that reminds me of the transverse plane here. It's like a mist that turns into a cobblestone path. I can smell real smells. Oh, hey, Lady Witchbeard. Hey, Don Dankle. Good job, Germ. You passed. You got us past the tests. Thanks, Lady Witchbeard. So, yeah, so should we follow this cobblestone road? Don Dankle, what do you think? Should we follow the cobblestone road? Are you trying to get me to say follow the cobblestone road? Yeah, I was, but I thought it would sound more, I don't know, it's from a story, never mind, it's like, it's a pop culture reference neither one of you would get, and even if someone that might get it, they'd say, because there was once upon a time, there was a yellow brick, oh, so we're going to start walking, so we'll just walk down this cobblestone road. Oh, wait, we're at a path, I can see a town down there to the right. It looks like to the left goes up and around town. Looks like a pretty... Lady Witchbeard, you have a look on your face, so you should probably explain to me in Don Dankle what you're seeing. Because otherwise, yeah, Germ, Don Dankle, this is the town I grew up in. And there's definitely some, let's go around town. This path, this cobblestone road, we'll follow this one to the left. It's going to go around town to the industrial area. But you could tell by the tone of my voice, I'm sure, and the look on my face, that something's not right. So this is where I grew up. I feel like this is the same, if I'm looking at some of the trees and the construction of the buildings, it's been, at the time in this world, I've been gone. It seems like it's still in the same time period. But something is very different. So we're going to go around town. It's also very quiet, as you can all tell, but that's not uncommon. As even though to the two of you it might seem a little bit dark and misty, it is the middle of the work day, so everyone could be at work. Okay, but Lady Witchbeard? But yeah, something's not right. Lady Witchbeard, so we're going to take this, is this like one of those roads that goes around town to the industrial area, you said? Yeah, to where my family and I worked, and most of the people in the town would work, and this was a family, we all worked in, you know what we've gone through this a little bit, but Don Dankle, you might not know. You know, my family and I, my larger family unit, we're in the sustainable horn business, which means sustainable horns, you know, that Mother Nature has to fall off or that replace themselves and we can take off, you know, in a kind and dignified way, you know, take a little shavings off the horn. You know, do horn maintenance for the animals. Oh, for animals, Don Dankle. Sorry, not, though horns could be made into musical horns. So you may be able to smell, and soon we'll be able to see the fields and the hills. It's good that we can smell all the animals that we use, all horned animals, to answer you and Daw's question, Don Dankle. It probably exists in most realms, you know, Antlers are kind of like horns. I know Daw will say horny toads and then giggle. And if it was a horned toad with a horn, which is mostly made up of the same things as your fingernails, Don Dankle and Daw, but not exactly the same thing. And in magic and different alchemy, they would have be imbued with certain properties. And not just for magic, for other things, but we, like in our world, we practice everything sustainably. So everything here was part of that process, a happy animal, a happy horn. I guess that would be make a dog giggle too. A happy horn, I'm just trying to figure in a way that I can say without a dog getting a kick out of it, but we'd keep our horned animals happy. But also you're asking, yes, we're going to avoid the town. How do I know something's wrong? Also, Daw, you have your hand up. What was your Lady Witchbeard? I love how all the balconies, does everything, well, how come you never told me every building has balconies where you grew up? Do you know I love balconies? I love sitting on a balcony, standing on a balcony, being on a balcony. If that's a good question, Daw. Yes, and that's how I know something's wrong, is because all the windows on the balconies are closed. Not exactly, Daw. We have a tradition here in our area, and it's part of a greater tradition that's a practice in different ways. But the simplest way to say it is that we had what I would call, in a way that's hard to see, that maybe you won't, we called it balcony subtext, I guess, or that's not what we called it, but that's how it'd be described. I'm sorry, Lady Witchbeard. I know, Daw. I'll try to help you understand. And, in Don Dangle, you're kind of nodding, because in piracy, we do have different ways of, keeping teamwork and keeping a ship functioning emotionally through communication and expression and balancing, negative attitudes and, making sure, maybe something similar in Daw's world would be the rain practice. Or there's the idea of small ways of self-expression and healthy ways of self-expression. And that's the way we did it here, was balcony subtext. And people it wasn't passive-aggressive, though. So it wasn't really subtextual. I don't quite know. But you would put things on your I guess like arts in some sense. And if you were displeased with something political, and it was fun because it was always some sort of symbolism that you would have that either people couldn't figure out, only you would know, or you would try to figure it out. But it was always a positive, not necessarily positive. You could be frustrated. And sometimes it would be very, if you were just feeling frowny, maybe you put a frowny face, I guess would be how Daw would just, something like that. But you could be expressing something, a frustration about one of the votes or about a change in priority. And that would all be accomplished on your every balcony. And I don't see any balcony subtext. There's a lot of uniformity on all these balconies. And that tells me that there's everybody had to have their balconies clean for some reason, Lady Witchbeard. Yeah, Don Dankle, do you have a perspective? Lady Witchbeard, I could see if this conqueror of witch worlds, as you described her, has taken hold here, usually with some sort of authoritarian type figure that doesn't have, isn't part of a guild with where there's a give and take, but we pirates, people always just assume, and there are pirates, that are outside of the guild. Anyways, they may not want any dissenting forms of expression. Particularly, I would say, Lady Witchbeard, these type of I'm very interested in this because I wonder, there really isn't privacy space but maybe we could do something with chalk. I don't know, Lady Witchbeard, because remember that sidewalk chalk? Dahl was talking about it. It was one of those times we had too much downtime. But it is a good way where you're empowered to express your opinion, and your opinion is heard in some sense or seen here, and even validated. Or you could do, I guess, if it was some very, I think it's an interesting conversation starter. And I'm sure that it would feel a little threatening having people empowered to express their opinions in a way that may seem, especially if someone was, that's not passive aggressive, but that seems that way. But that has a little bit of flavor of that rebellion to it, Lady Witchbeard. That's what I like about it. Back when Daw was talking about the newspapers in Daw's world. And so, yeah, I think it's interesting. But it does tell me that there's a presence of something that's saying, oh, no, 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 no. Is that what you're getting at, Lady Witchbeard, or is that what you're sensing? Exactly, Don Dankel. For my people, my family, and my extended family, to give up, they're very, like I said, like you're saying with piracy, keeping a balance of strong opinions is important, and even it doesn't mean, like I said, I had to move away from the witch world because even though you could express yourself, it still was limiting to me. That's why I became a pirate and, once I was exposed to the pirate realm. But for most people, just being able to express themselves and discuss it created a healthy dialogue that it sounds like has been shut down because it wouldn't be just something people would forget about. It has to be a total change in the way everyone here is operating. So, yeah, I guess, I don't know what I'm saying, Don Danko, but something's happening. Oh, Lady Witchbeard, is that like your horn factory? Is that a horny factory? Okay, dog, that's enough. Yeah, that's that's our set of work buildings. And then you can start to see the free roaming. There's some places where some of our, what you would call livestock, we don't call them that, but there's some that are free roaming, and then you can see the stone walls or some of the creeks in the hills that separate. Lady Witchbeard, are those horned sheep? I guess you could call them that, Daw. They're kind of like antlers. I've never seen a sheep with antlers before. It's kind of cute and not cute at the same time. And Lady Witchbeard, why is it the way it is? Like, it depends on what kind of grasses or flowers they may eat, how much water they need, and their temperaments. Your horned sheep, they tend to, it's interesting. They butt people while they're asleep. So we don't want them accidentally butting another kind of animal that would start any trouble. Lady Witchbeard is on Dankel. I'm thinking that, do you have a sense of, something else, Lady Witchbeard? Yeah, Don Dankel. They're all waiting for us, I'm sure. But yeah, we're definitely being observed and, Lady Witchbeard, who's waiting for us? All my old co-workers, Daw. You mean your family, right? Because your co-workers are your family, right? That's correct, Daw. So we're going to need come up with a plan now. And I think I'm going to have you and Don Dankle take the lead. And Lady Witchbeard, how would you like Don Dankle and I to handle things? Well, correctly would be great, okay. Wait, I'm sorry, I mean, so Don Dankle, despite kind of what we talked about and the changes we made, I still am your apprentice, and I think I still do need to, while we've bent the pirate code, I still do need to, I've been reckless and I haven't been following the pirate code as your apprentice of late. Okay, I understand, Lady Witchbeard. That makes sense to me. And the other thing is, I was thinking when the pirates had me in that cage and I was silenced, how silence can be golden. And I know I said that to you, Daw, but I think maybe that's what we go in here as. Okay, so what do you mean, Lady Witchbeard? You mean we shouldn't talk? Correct, Daw. And Daw will go in. It'll be Don Dankle, you, and then me. And we'll keep our heads down. And we'll just walk in the main shift door down there. They're going to be waiting for us, I think. Okay, Lady Witchbeard, could you teach me that spell with the magic map? And maybe I could have something stuck to my face then, because, just in case I start to talk. Okay, Daw, here, I'll just show you on your hand how to trace this. Oh, so I just trace that symbol. You would trace that symbol on something and then put it on your face. That's it? No, that's not it, Daw, but you have some... We can talk more about magic at another time. But all you need to do... Okay, so I actually have this this kerchief here, so I can put that over my face or my mouth, and that would probably keep me from talking. Yeah, you could do that, Daw. Oh, so there we go. Everybody's people are already. You guys are not talking already, but seems like everyone's chattering as we come in. Wow, that's a lot of different witches. I better look at, so Lady Witchbeard's returned. Oh, Lady Witchbeard, we're so glad to see you. You must have known how much. Come in, all of you. We've been waiting for you. You're just in the nick of time. So they're kind of talking over me, Lady Witchbeard and Don Dankle, but I think she's here. She's here to save us. Clearly, our daughter and our sister returns. And she's got 2 assistants with her. And Lady Witchbeard, you're being so quiet and so stern with us. We'll explain everything. Don't worry. And we know what it looks like. Okay, she's still not speaking. Does anybody, Lady Witchbeard, could excuse me, gentlemen. That gentleman has a kerchief on his face. Lady Witchbeard, we have so many questions. We assume you follow. We assume you're investigating things and you know what's happening. And I know we need to explain ourselves and what it looks like, but, she came from the past somehow. Then someone came, so I guess there was some sawing in another world, and this Brandy came. So that wasn't from the past. I'm sorry, Lady Witchbeard. I was just trying to get your feeling. At first, I wasn't going to tell you, but Brandy came, and she was visiting our world, and then she revived the Conqueror, and she was basing it on some song. I don't even know what the song was. Some song about conquering and stuff. And she worked with the Conqueror because she had something. Okay, Lady Witchbeard, hello? Are you going to react to anything we're saying? So she made some kind of deal with the Conqueror. And now we're all stuck. We've been taken over. We're mostly powerless. So we're working. I mean, okay, so but that's all we know, Lady Witchbeard. Okay, she's not responding to me. Can someone else come up here? Okay, Connie, it's your aunt. We promise we're telling you everything. And, okay, so there's more we do know. So we do know that the deal they struck is some sort of power exchange. So it's based on power and commerce and something else, Brandy, some personal thing with Brandy. And, yeah, they did strike a deal with us. We didn't just go along unwillingly. We did go along willingly because we'll have full access to the bounty of the 13 Seas, apparently. I guess in a way that's not so much sustainable for the 13 Seas, but will be great for us. They said the bounty of the 13 Seas compared to the size of our world. And there's all sorts of other horned sea creatures, I guess. So we'll have easy access to all those sea creatures. Now, she'll control all of that, but she'll also she'll spend most of her time in the 13 Seas dominating that world. And she's already made deals with, I guess, something to do with canals, no more seas, just canals. So not much will change in our world. I mean, we'll be working, we'll have freedom, but not as much freedom as we had before. But we'll have a different kind of peace, because yeah. So yeah, we made a deal basically. And also, I mean, you're better off being in this world. So are you going to, I guess that means you won't be able to play pirate anymore, Connie. No more piracy for Connie. No more seas for you to sail. She's not reacting. Can someone take over for me? Oh, yeah, I could take over. Good, it's your sister here. So, yeah, you should have heard the stuff she said about you, Lady Witchbeard. She made some serious comments about you. And she said you wouldn't even be welcome back in the witch world. She said you would probably she was going to deal with you. She said she would outsmart you. And then we said, well, I don't know if you get it. Maybe you should just and then she kept asking us if we knew where you were. We said, no, Connie left home a long time ago. She goes by Lady Witchbeard. She sends us letters. We did show her all you weren't exactly, you think just because you're a pirate, you're better than us. Also, she used to talk about the way you styled your hair. She also made comments about your breath and your clothes. She's not reacting, everybody. Connie, Lady Witchbeard, Connie, why aren't you reacting to any of this? Hi, Connie. I'm your former best friend, and this is another sister of yours. Of course, we also told her you arrived here. You probably already knew that. So maybe that'll get you react. Her minions are on their way to catch all of you and your two assistants here. And they'll catch you and hold you until she comes back. She said she actually has more important things to do than deal with you. And that even her lesser minions and us, of course, could easily deal with you. But we totally did that just to avoid punishment. Also because we felt like you thought we were better than us. Also, we get reward for turning you in. Turning in old Lady Witchbeard. But, I don't know, you don't seem to care either, which is strange, because we thought, We told her, actually, maybe we should catch Connie for you because she's the only one capable of disrupting your plans. I don't think we told her that because we figured she knew it. Because we figured if you lost your temper, like in the old days, Connie, Lady Witchbeard, because you had more power than any of us and just more potential. That's why everyone wondered, why did Connie stop being a witch? And you said, well, I'm a witch pirate. We said, well, isn't being a witch good enough for you? Okay, but we really needed you. We're only telling you this to get you angry, Connie, and get your temper going so that you could put a stop to this. But she doesn't seem angry. Is there something happening here? Like, she's supposed to get angry. Excuse me, he's got a kerchief over his face. Who are you? Good evening, everyone. My name is Don Dankle, and Lady Witchbeard is actually my apprentice. Didn't know she went by Connie. She's a Lady Witchbeard in our world. Her name's Connie, and she has a bad temper. Have you ever experienced that? Oh, no, Lady Witchbeard now follows the pirate code. She's not allowed to speak at all. But we broke her trust, so she probably can break any oath to a pirate code and tell us that she's going to, turn all the minions into nudie poo. And also, you're not a pirate. You're just someone that plays a pirate, Connie. You're Connie the witch. You're just, you're supposed to work in the polishing. Okay, excuse me. Please don't speak. I've let you speak, and I don't appreciate you bothering my apprentice, Lady Witchbeard. Seems like you had some sort of a plan within a plan within a plan to take both sides. Hopefully, the Connie, Lady Witchbeard you're familiar with would get very upset and react and do something where you would have the advantage. Either she would eliminate this other person you're referring to. We don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest. We just, we were in a ship. We accidentally fell through a cauldron, and here we are. That's impossible. That's just not possible. It is possible. I haven't, Lady Witchbeard hasn't spoken, and she's not scheduled to speak for another 11 days. So, we were just, she indicated where I should go. I was hoping to find some help. We need some hempen rope. Did you say, so, who is this? You're Don Dankle? Are you, do you understand the minions of the Conqueror of Worlds are coming? And you're supposed to put a stop to them if they come. Well, at least we made the deal, though. So if they come, they'll catch Lady Witchbeard, but they're not going to follow through on the deal. We only made a deal with the Conqueror of Worlds so that Lady Witchbeard would deal with the Conqueror of Worlds. Okay, well, I've heard enough of this nonsense. Lady Witchbeard is a pirate and a witch and an apprentice, a member of the Pirates Guild, which we're investigating. That's what we were doing, is investigating some reason the Pirates Guild isn't meeting. Also, I've read a lot of books about your world, and it seems like your balconies are looking a little bare. That made me sad. I was so looking forward to the expression on each and every one of your balconies. But it's clear to me now that we're not going to find any hempen rope or, and you mentioned a nudie poo, and we were looking at, we should go, because clearly I can see by all of your body language that we only have a few minutes, and it seems like you will run a wonderful, sustainable, horn-based business, and I'm so glad that my apprentice here has a kerchief over his mouth, but we're trying to figure out if you have any reading material, that you could leave. We're going to exit through there because we are trying to figure out Nudipu, Savaroot, and some sort of binding agent, and how that falls into what you're saying. So, and maybe if I like later on, who's to say if old Connie, who's smart enough now, maybe young Connie, when young Connie hung around with all of you, I could see why young Connie would lose her temper. Maybe no one knew that she could be both a witch and a pirate, but that Connie has a longer vision now. So maybe Lady Witchbeard will return to save all of you from this pickle you found yourself in, so you could express yourself on balconies and through horn-based businesses or other, communities that have their own businesses you trade with. It'd be a shame for all of you to lose that, and so we'll be off. Thank you for this book. I'm looking for it's a binder of information. This will help us, and maybe it'll help Lady Witchbeard. But Dawn, Lady Witchbeard, and I will be heading out up this a door towards maybe those horned sheep, I think. Come on, Doc. Come on, Lady Witchbeard. Doc, you can take that off. You can talk now. Wow, I totally forgot Lady Witchbeard's name was Connie, Don Dankle. Lady Witchbeard, you probably shouldn't talk till we're out of earshot. Also, it looks like if you talk, you just raise your voice strongly anyway. So, what do you think, Don Dankle? We're going to hide out in the sheep pens? Well, Daw, it was that book from one of your worlds. We're going to get underneath... I don't think you knew this, but there's also the antlers curve all the way underneath those sheep. Maybe Lady Witchbeard was telling me about it, and maybe I read about it somewhere, and that's how the babies rest in those antlers on the mother sheep, and that's how they're nursed, is in the arms of antlers. There's a lot of poetry of visitors to the witch world that write about these sheep. I guess you don't read it at all. Oh, to be an ant, baby. Anyway, so I think we could, just like a book I read from your world, where people would hide under the sheep's, that's how Odysseus, we could be like, we don't need it to hide. We could just get, you see, okay, so let's put Lady Witchbeard under that one. And we're going to remove these fence posts here and kick them down. And I'm going to put, Daw, you're under there. Yeah, get comfortable. You probably will sleep for a while because they're going to start going, because these sheep, it just happens to be our timing. When the gate opens, they migrate. Now, unfortunately, Daw, we'll be woken because these are all, like a lot of these are the single sheep, and they're going to go migrate to their spring meeting grounds, but it'll take 5 to 6 days for them to get there. So we'll hide. I don't think the minions will ever, there's too many sheep. There's, it looks like tens of thousands of them. And they're already they move very, very fast, as you noticed. I'm right next to you in a sheep. Luckily, the sheep stay close together, so they move in threes. So, yeah, let's rest and get comfortable. Lady Witchbeard's falling asleep, I hope. Yeah, we'll figure things out when we get further away from this dawn, Lady Witchbeard. It's a good thing I did a lot of reading across worlds. Good night, Doc. Good night, Lady Witchbeard, and good night, everybody. Don Dankle, cradled underneath the sheep and the antlers of a antler-based sheep. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. Rudolph, Zora, and Selma. Thank you. Thanks again. Night, Jack, Rosie, and Kristen. Thanks again. And good night. Carrie, and Kathleen. Thank you. Thanks again. Night, Caleb, Bertrand, and Ellen. Thank you. Thanks. Good night. Benjamin, Kimmy, and Olivia. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Katie, Matthew, and Rachel. Thank you, thanks, good night. Lisa, Luke, and Eudazia, thanks, and good night. Amanda, Ellen, and Sylvia, thank you, thanks, and good night. Marty, Kane, and Imperial, thanks, and good night. Emily, Shane, and Julia, thank you, thanks, good night. Robert, Jameson, and Whitney, thank you, thanks, good night. Madison, Michael, and Peter, thank you, thanks, good night. Lisa, Mars, and Janelle, thanks, good night. And Avi and Sarah, thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you. And those of you that support the sponsors or spread the word about the show is a huge help as well, or just share your stories and your kind words with me. Thanks, and here's a little bit about our referral program. Thanks, and good night. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. Before I tuck in, I just want to let you know about our referral program. That's where you can get great rewards for free, just referring people to the podcast. And you can do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. And you just let people know about the podcast. Use this special link. You share it on social media or wherever, you share online. And you could even earn ad-free episodes and the way to get into our, our like little secret club that there's really no way to get into unless you hear an opportunity or you see an opportunity that I announce. And that's our Wall of Fame and our Dream Door Society. And Cornelia is already well beyond that in referrals. So it's very, very possible. And I haven't checked it in the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure a couple other people are up there getting close. But it all starts with that first referral. And you just let people know, hey, this is a podcast that helps me fall asleep, that I enjoy listening to. That's it, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. Thanks, everybody.